Hello everyone, and let's set the mood for our more alternative pumpkin Creepmas party. Of course, I'm building a tree for you guys, and it's made out of pickles. It's like a take on a charcuterie board, but much better, because it has pickles. I'm a pickle girly. So I just went to my local craft store to get a styrofoam cone, wrap it in saran wrap, stab some toothpicks in it with pickles to make the shape of this cute, adorable Christmas tree. And I decorated it and cut out cheese stars and salami ornaments. This is what real friendship is, guys. I hope you are ready to dive right in to all the delicious and magical treats that this Creepmas party has to offer. So come right in, enjoy yourselves. Here is what we're expected to serve at the Creepmas party. Garlic mushroom skull Irish bog soda bread, spider-webbed tomato peppered soup with pumpkin spice Yule Ghost cake pops. And a word from our sponsor. Today's video is in collaboration with one of my all-time favorite people, the online bestie who I've collaborated before long ago on this YouTube channel, Joan. If you're looking for some kick-ass alternative makeup, style of clothing, fashion, anime-loving, kawaii, goth princess vibes, Joan's one of my absolute favorite people. So definitely check out her socials in the links. Today, I thought we would put on some makeup to get ready for our pumpkin Creepmas party, inspired by Megs and Glitter. I absolutely love this artist. Beautiful, gorgeous gourds and pumpkins. Their art is so beautiful with pops of color, very big dramatic eyes. And while putting on this makeup, I thought we would talk about the history of pumpkins and why we always gravitate towards and indulge in these gourds during the cold months. Pumpkins could be found on 6 continents, all but in Antarctica. They are native to Central America, and indigenous people have been cultivating pumpkins for as early as 3500 BC, making it surprisingly one of the oldest crops known other than corn. It was so popular during cold seasons as a vegetable because you could not only eat the flesh, but you could roast the seeds and also make strips of it into woven mats. It's such a versatile vegetable. The actual first pumpkin pie was made by immigrants from Europe, and they would mix milk, honey, and spices inside of the pumpkin and bake it in hot ashes. What really made pumpkins very popular are jack-o'-lanterns. They're such an icon, it's such an art form, and has become a vital part of modern Halloween celebrations. The act of actually picking out the perfect pumpkin to hollow it out and carve a face and placing a light inside to set the mood for a night of candy and costumes was originally made as a lantern to have fond memories of many people, and the history is rooted to remember the dead. Jack-o'-lanterns can be traced back to Ireland and Scotland, when pagan peoples would save the skulls of their dearly deceased and light candles inside of them for Samhain. This practice was meant to attract the souls of their loved ones home for one night, while they also scared away evil spirits. And of course, many people started using the common vegetable to carve into faces instead of using actual skulls. And the most common, even more so than pumpkins, was turnips and potatoes, because it represented the white bone of a real skull. The name jack-o'-lantern actually came years after this practice was started. It came from a folk story called Stingy Jack. It was said that Jack tricked the devil to stay out of hell, but heaven wouldn't take him after his life was of deceit. And Stingy Jack's soul was cursed to roam the earth, with only a burning coal and a turnip to light his way, floating lights in the deep dark bogs of Ireland. Some say those lights are Jack's soul still wandering the land. When Irish immigrants came to America, they brought on these traditions and used pumpkins instead of the usual potatoes or turnips because it gave much more landscape to carve in their artwork. Pumpkins play a major role in autumnal celebrations across the nation, but Illinois holds the title of the pumpkin capital in the United States. In 2019, Illinois produced an estimated of 40,000 pounds per acre of pumpkins. California and Texas came in a close second with 30,000 pounds per acre, but that's still 10,000 pounds short. Most of the pumpkins grown in the United States is processed to become pie filling for baking mixes, oils, coffee, ice cream, and even dog and cat food. Only 20% of the pumpkins grown are sold whole for carving and decor and cooking, and there's over 50 varieties of pumpkins. So I hope you enjoyed this pumpkin makeup look. Definitely check out the artist that inspired this, Megs and Glitter on Instagram, and let's get started with prepping for the celebrations. Making this Irish garlic soda bread with mushroom skulls. This recipe was inspired by the amazing food artist on Instagram, Ghoul at Heart. I decided to do my own gluten-free take on it, using oat flour, 2 large eggs, some plain fat-free Greek yogurt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, a half a teaspoon of baking soda, some salt, some food coloring, some garlic, butter, shallots, green onion, and I would suggest some Cavender's Greek seasoning, with mushrooms of course. First, we are going to mix the dry ingredients together with that oat flour, baking soda, and baking powder. Then we're going to start cracking our eggs to incorporate that into the dough with the Greek yogurt. I measured all of these by grams separately on a food scale. And you're just going to hand mix that with a spatula or a spoon and start adding some food coloring throughout. I did a mix of red, green, and blue to get this as deep and dark as I want, so that it could be like a tombstone gray all the way to like a black tourmaline, and I got somewhere in the middle mixing these food dyes into the dough. Don't over mix this too much because you want to let it rest for 15 minutes, and while it's resting, we're going to start cutting up our mushrooms. I cut each mushroom in half. Then we're going to get a paring knife and make the skull's eye sockets. To really hollow out the skull eyes, I like to use the bottom of a straw to make them more circular and pronounced. And once you're done cutting up all those skulls, you could add it to a pan with butter. You could put some chives, garlic, shallots, and some of that Greek seasoning. And you just want to make sure that these are cooked through but not mush. We're going to line a springform pan with parchment paper. Then put our deep, dark Irish bog soda bread and put that in the pan. And then you could top the mushroom skulls on the bread batter. This gluten-free soda bread recipe doesn't rise too much, and I will tag below the exact recipe. And I put the extra garlic and amazing onions on the sides of the skull so you can get a nice, good, garlicky, buttered bread. And we're going to put that in the oven at 325 degrees for 50 minutes. Once you prick the center of the garlic bread with a toothpick and it comes out clean, you're going to want the loaf to cool slightly, and it'll be ready to enjoy. And you know what would go great with this dark, creepy mushroom skull garlic Irish soda bread? Some homemade tomato soup. We are gathering some tomatoes, and I really wanted to make this a deep dark color, so I grabbed some garlic, onions, different varieties of tomatoes, whatever you have on hand, and I put in a pepper because roasted peppers in a soup is so delicious. And you're just going to put a good amount of olive oil all over this in a baking dish, and you could season it with salt, pepper, and whatever seasonings you like. You could put this in the oven at a pretty decent high heat, like 425 or a broiler, until the pepper starts getting this charred, delicious outside. And safely, I'm using gloves so I don't burn my hands. Get all the components of the garlic out of the bulbs, the delicious burst of tomato and those cherry tomatoes and the other tomatoes off of the stems, and taking the pepper stem out. Now you want to let this sit on the counter for like 20 or 30 minutes to let it cool down a little bit, because unless you have an immersion blender, which I don't, blending food that's too hot in a traditional blender is kind of complicated. But I put these in a big blender, then blended it up till it's nice and smooth. I added some chicken broth, or you can use chicken stock or vegetable stock if you want to make this vegetarian. And this is where you can mix in some heavy cream or evaporated milk or whatever milk of choice you like to make a good creamy tomato pepper soup. Also, this would be good to put in some tomato paste to give it that rich tomatoey flavor and color. and you just want to heat that up, and you can let it slowly boil over time. Spoon it up into a bowl, and it's almost ready. We're going to do some artwork with some cream in this little bottle I got on Amazon that has like a very tiny tip to it, so I could draw on some spider webs and a spider. It almost feels like savory latte art. This was so much fun to do and was very tricky because it involves controlling the pressure of your fingertips and your hand with the bottle. Even people that are scared of spiders will enjoy this delicious soup. I'll make sure to have all the recipes down below. Don't forget to check out Ghoul at Heart, who inspired this dish, and it's so tasty with that garlic butter skull bog Irish soda bread. And before we move on to dessert, of course, this video is in collaboration with Joan. Go check out her video of her painting my food creations. All these recipes came from the heart, and Joan just put them onto paper. She has so many talents. Definitely check her out. Links will be down below. Now, we can't leave this Creepmas dinner party without dessert. Now, this is original recipe. The footage of me mixing and creating it actually disappeared, but I'm listing on the screen all of the ingredients. You literally just throw it all in a bowl and mix it with a spoon, and it makes this beautiful orange tinted dough, and it's literally edible cookie dough. It's also gluten-free, could also be vegetarian and vegan. I just roll them into round balls, and you could put them on parchment paper or wax paper or foil like I have here. And I made sure to get some cake pop sticks as a kit on Amazon because they come with all the cute wrappings on the outside as well. And I'm just going to stick those into each cake pop. I will list the other ingredients you need to make these cake pops as well. Now we're just gonna melt some white chocolate and put it in little circles, like as the foundation base of our little ghosties. Once it looks like miniature snowmen have melted on my plate, I'm going to submerge the cake pop into the white chocolate and stick them on those circles. You may want to drip more of the melted chocolate. You could definitely use candy melts for this, is preferable because white chocolate can easily burn and turn color. The candy melts are perfect for this. Dripping extra on it will really make the ghost have that wavy, flowy feel to it and make it stick to the rest of the white candy. So you can shape your little ghost. Casper who? Baby, these things are edible, and I always love a sweet treat after a meal. Now I got some black edible gel, and I'm gonna draw on the ghost's eyeballs and mouth. You can make these look like scream masks. You can make them look like Jack Skellington. I just did traditional circular oval ghost eyes and mouth. And now you're gonna put these in the fridge to set and pop these out whenever guests come over for the holidays. Who doesn't love a ghost? From Halloween, Christmas spirits all year round. When I tell you that everybody I know went feral for these cake pops. They were so delicious with the right amount of pumpkin spice, sweetness, and that crunch of the chocolate candy melts. These were a huge hit and always for my holiday parties. And again, these recipes will be down in the description box below. I hope you enjoyed this. A nice sweet ending to our holiday Creepmas party. And now that the dinner party is over, it's time to celebrate under my Pickle Creepmas tree. I made a little song. Enjoy if you like not so great singing. Oh pickle tree, how bright and slimy your limbs are. You kind of stink and smell like cheese. Your ornaments are salami. How lovely is thy charcuterie. Merry and happy Creepmas, ghouls and gals. This video was a long way coming. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed making this. Which recipe would you make? Bye.